Congressman, thank you for being here with us. I want to get your reaction to the raid this week in Mar-a-Lago. Obviously, really two very different opinions out there. Republicans, as you heard, really criticizing it, yet we know so very little. Your reaction?
Yeah, there's a lot we don't know. I'll tell you, as somebody who used to have a top secret SCI clearance, the idea of somebody taking that stuff home is very disturbing to me. We don't know all the facts. I would say that President Trump, like former President Trump, like any American, has a right to due process, any American who is accused of a serious crime like this. And if he has concerns about the manner in which this took place, he'll have every opportunity to make those concerns known in a court of law, and it'll be adjudicated in the way it always is in our rule of law system. I'll tell you what I'm more concerned about. Whatever President Trump may have done or not done, that will be determined by the courts. What I'm more concerned about is politicians going on TV and calling federal law enforcement the Nazi Gestapo, calling the United States of America a banana republic. I love this country. I revere our institutions and our democracy. And it is incredibly dangerous to have responsible leaders in this country turning Americans angry and hateful, not just towards Joe Biden and the Democrats. That's politics. That's normal. But turning us angry and hateful towards our system of justice itself.
You know, Tom, you're bringing up a really interesting point because, in fairness, it's not just the Republicans who now are criticizing heavily the FBI, which we did see this week, the attack on the Cincinnati field office. I was reporting on it. This individual clearly on his Truth Social page indicated he was motivated by what he saw at Mar-a-Lago. But then Democrats, particularly progressives, back a year or so ago, defund the police. Are you concerned that members of Congress, national leaders of both stripes are not doing enough now to reinvigorate the trust, the public trust in our law enforcement agencies?
Absolutely. And look, the whole defund the police nonsense was terrible. I was against that. We do not see that from President Biden. We don't see that from leaders of the Democratic Party. We are funding the police in Congress right now on a bipartisan basis. I'm amazed now that we have Republican leaders saying defund the FBI and comparing it, as I said, to you know, stormtroopers or the KGB or the Gestapo. That is absolutely horrible after what was, after all, a completely normal thing. The FBI believed they had evidence of a crime.
Well, it was an unprecedented law enforcement action taken against a former president. Before we run out of time, let me change gears quickly because Democrats passed this Inflation Reduction Act, and I want to ask you about some parts of it, but specifically, what's it going to do for New Jerseyans?
So, number one issue back home, ever since I was first elected in 2018, prescription drug prices and the cost of health care. In fact, it was President Trump in 2016 who ran on this idea that we should allow Medicare, finally, to negotiate with the pharmaceutical companies to get the cost of drugs down. We just did that. This used to be bipartisan. Seniors will not be paying more than $2,000 out of pocket for their prescription drugs after 2025. That is a huge breakthrough for my constituents.
I just have about 20 seconds left, but I do want to put you on the spot because the real rub is that this bill, to pay for this bill, it's going to be the audits coming from the IRS. A new 80,000 plus agents are going to be hired. Can you guarantee me today, right here on this program, that will not lead to an increase in audits on people making less than $400,000 in New Jersey?
Absolutely. And look, we've had a 20% cut in the IRS budget in the last 12 years. My constituents cannot get their phone calls answered when they're waiting over a year to get their tax refunds back. And as far as audits, there has been a 70% decline in audits of millionaires, 54% decline in audits of big corporations. And you know who's getting screwed? My middle-class constituents, because our taxes are higher to compensate for the taxes that are owed but not paid by the wealthiest Americans.
I hope you're right. The nonpartisan Syracuse University says that the less wealthy are more than 5 times likely to be audited.
It's correct today because the IRS does not have the staff to go after people who have lawyers, who have accountants, who can fight back.